Hello everyone. Today we are going to cover solving equations. And so far we've learned about expressions, how to factorize or expand algebraic expressions and what are expressions and equations, even in variables. These tools are for solving equations. After knowing these tools, now we can solve some simple equations such as linear equations. So equation, I wrote down the definition of equation. An equation is a math statement that says two things are equal. So let's see this equation. 2 times 3 equals 6. And if you have a look at the word equations, it has EQUA, which comes from equal. So it has an equal sign in an equation, and it just says, okay, those two things are the same. So 2 times 3 is the same as 6, obviously. But in algebra, we are going to come across a lot of variables in an equation. So what we are going to do is solve those equations. Let's say this equation with variable 2x equals 6. Usually it's pretty obvious in this case because we wrote down 2 times 3 equals 6 right above it. But usually what we do is divide by 2, divide like both sides by 2 just to isolate this x. So we are gonna just leave x alone, and this is how we solve equations. So there are many phrases that we use when it comes to solving equations. If the problem says, "Oh, solve this equation," that basically means to find the value of x, and then sometimes determine the solution or evaluate the unknown. Yeah. So when we solve equations, what we have to find is the value of the variable or variables. But in this case, only one variable, and like what you want to do is just one variable here and then equals number. This is if you find that number and just one variable on the left hand side, then basically you've solved the equation. Let's just have a look at a few more examples. Yep, let's quickly go over some examples of equations, and let's just try solving those equations. Let's have a look at this one. X plus 2.1 equals 13.2. What we want to see is that one equation that says x equals blah blah, just one number here. This is what we want to find. Okay, we want to find you can look at here, like determine the solution, find the value, evaluate the unknown. These actually mean the same thing. Just find the value of some unknown numbers or just one unknown number in the equation. So in this case, x, we want to find the value of x to restore the balance. I don't know how many of you have watched my first video, and I explained the meaning of algebra. And then the word came from Arabic. The meaning is like restoring balance. So in this case, we want to find the value that restores the balance of this equation. And so we are going to subtract 2.1 on each side. Minus 2.1. Why? To isolate this x. So in that case, we can find the value of x, value that restores the balance of this equation. So x equals, so that's why we are left with only x on the left side, and on the right side we got 13.2 minus 2.1, that's 11.1. So we find the value. So the one thing that you should remember is that if you add, subtract, divide, or multiply the same thing on both sides, the equation still works. Let's just look at this specific example. 1 equals 1. Yeah, obviously they both are the same, but let's say if we add 2 to each side, 1 plus 2 equals 1 plus 2. Yeah, obviously they will be the same. They will still have balance. So like that's why like same goes for subtraction or multiplication or division, like just everything. But the one thing that you have to check is that you have to do on both sides. Yeah, that's really important. And there are some more to it, especially when it comes to divide or multiply. Yeah, we are gonna do it. Okay, let's go over one more example. This is a bit different from what we just did, because there is a number attached to the variable. We all know there's multiplication going on between them, but actually there's a name for this specific number. In this case, 2 is the coefficient of x. So the number next to a variable is called coefficient. Like let's look at this expression, 3y plus 3z. Then 2 is the coefficient of x, 3 is the coefficient of y. Yeah, same goes for 3z, 3 is the coefficient of z. So this kind of equation is called two-step equation. Why? Because it has 2 steps. You have 2 steps to take. The first one, this one is in the category of one-step equation. Why? You can just subtract one number, then you got the answer. So yeah, let's give it a try. First of all, subtract the 7 on both sides. Then you get 2x equals 4. Now, just one more step. Divide by 2 on each side, because the coefficient is 2 and we want to get rid of it. So this is the way to isolate the x. Like we did before, to isolate the x on the left side, we subtract the number. Now we are doing the same thing, but we have to divide the number. So we get x equals 2. This is the value of this equation. We solve this equation. There are many examples for equations that we could go over. Let me just think about it for a second. Yeah.